everyone, to the David Rome and Dan Tirico show. We are here for week 8 of the TFL. Dan, how are we doing this evening?
Doing good, doing good. Got a lot of interesting stuff to go over.
Well, that's perfect. Let's go right into that. Let's get into those week 7 results. What have you got for me today?
Well, week 7. You wanna hit up our locks first, or do you want to go over who won what?
Let's go over some of those wins and losses that occurred last week. Anything stand out to you?
No, go for it.
All right. Well, let's get right into some. These were some intra-divisional battles that were going on.
Actually, I do want to toot my own horn. I don't typically do this, but I would like to say 2-2-1. That would be Dispensing the Pain's record versus Rampant Lines. We're now tied pretty much across the board in that series. And I believe that win also takes Dispensing the Pain. Despite his overall record, he does have the division record. Puts him in top of the AFC North. So I want to say, they beat us last go round. We beat them this go round. So feels good.
Perfectly said. Let's see here. We had Big Orange Army victorious over Bromie's Homies in a divisional matchup. Another loss by my team. I'm not saying I'm going to be shocked here. Peyton Manning for 34 points. Sammy Watkins, rookie sensation, 28 points. That's all he needed. Just those 2 players. My team doesn't know what they're doing. What else do we have out there? We had Havok Hawks defeating Loose Ends.
I think that was one of my locks.
Oh, I don't want to get into our locks here, bro. I mentioned a lock pick.
Yeah,
go away from that. Let's go away from that for a second.
We had Monsters of the Midway beating the Beach Bums. That was one of the games we discussed. Beach Bums remain, they're up there 0-7 now. They've not had a win yet this season. But it was close. It was, a lot closer than I thought it would be.
It is closer, and sometimes I think there's a way to predict a win for a team, and I don't know about JC Beach Bums going to 0-8. I'm not sure. That's a teaser for you later on in the show, folks.
Well, I think I know where you're going with that.
So do I. And let's see, other results. We had Pill Pushers annihilate the Sriracha Angry Chickens. I believe they got whooped. Let's go ahead and say. Maybe, don't want to say how badly they were whipped, but let's just go ahead and say when one of your players scores a negative in the points, that's a whooping. I don't know if it's a well-deserved whooping, but it was a whooping.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Outkicked my coverage in Old School. Theirs was fairly close. That was, that's actually pretty much a home field advantage. If you take home field advantage out, less than, it was just a hair over 3 points difference between the two. That's something we've talked about maybe discussing later in the year as well, or bringing up with the commissioner about changing his home field advantage. Havok Hawks Bombers was really close. Mudfish and Pill Pushers was, yeah.
All right. We got some results. How about our lock results? How did you do last week?
Did pretty good as far as last week. Let me flip to that page. I'm pretty sure I went 2-0.
You went 2-0, my friend. 2-0.
So that brings my record up a little better. I'm batting 50%.
We have you at 6-6 overall. Who were the 2 teams that you had locked? For anybody who didn't listen to last week's show to listen to who you locked, let's let them know how good of a job you did.
Yeah, well, I actually messed up. I did 2 AFC teams last week. I did Havok Hawks over Loose Ends, and then actually I have 3 wrote down, so I'm not sure I forgot which one I went over. I had Every Damn Wrestling over Outkick My Coverage, and also had Butt Monkeys over the Skin Bot. So I actually would have went 3 for 3 if I picked all 3.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. So, and I believe, speaking of lock records, where are you sitting at right now?
Well, some said it best when Tebow was on his winning streak that all he does is win. It's basically the same for me. I don't know how to lose when I make a pick. It's I like to brag about it. I'm not shy about that. And it'll be interesting with my locks this week because if I lock you, it basically means you're going to win. Just so you know, you just sit back and watch football over the weekend because you're already guaranteed to win when I pick you.
Well, I predict that this will be the week that you go down.
I predict it too because I'm going to get crazy with my picks this week. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. It'll be interesting to see. So yeah, I like to try to go off the ball and pick something a little out there sometimes. So week 8, got a couple interesting matchups this go around.
Yes, we do. We have a AFC matchup as our game of the week. We have the Havok Hawks versus the Pill Pushers. In a game where it could easily mean the division for the Pill Pushers. The Havok Hawks are hoping to win to stay alive in their division.
Both of them are 5-2.
Overall records are 5-2, so overall they're doing a very good job. Unfortunately, in the TFL, it's all about how you do in the division to get that division title. Sure, a wild card berth, it gets you in there with the overall record, but the key is that division. Win your division, win your title.
Yeah, I think we had a few people struggling with that, but I think they figured it out now.
Yep. Well, that's good to know. All you gotta do is listen to the show, folks. You listen to the show, we tell you what you need to know. And then with the NFC, we have the Murphy's Law going up against the Shiva Blasters. We do have a statement from each team on that, so we will definitely get those in there to you as well as we go over their games. But let's start with the AFC. Havok Hawks versus the Pill Pushers. What do you got for me?
A couple interesting player matchups. We got Andrew Luck versus the Steelers. Actually, I like that matchup pretty good. I think that'll be a good game for him. We have Ellington going versus. That's assuming if he starts these people. Ellington versus the Eagles. Not so much. Now Murray versus the Skins. I think Murray's just been a beast this year so far. If he can stay healthy, which that'll be the key. Cause, they're working him pretty hard. But that's a good matchup for him. Kelvin Benjamin versus the Seahawks. Normally I would have said bad matchup, but with the way the Seahawks, I think I saw something they were talking about. Last year they were pretty much first in defense, and this year some of their stats they're pretty much dead last. I think it was pressure from the quarterback. They're struggling. Sanu versus the Ravens. I think that's a bad matchup for him as well. Ravens looked really good last week with pressure on their wide receivers. I do like his tight end. Kelsey pretty good. Then looking at Pill Pushers, we got Aaron Rodgers. He's going up against New Orleans. New Orleans has struggled all year. I think that's a really good matchup for Rodgers. He's going to put up big points. Bell versus the Colts again. I do like that matchup. Then we got Cobb, another Green Bay player. Again, New Orleans should throw up some big numbers. Decker, he's on the Jets, so yeah. Mike Wallace, Tannehill has really surprised me this year. He's done real well. He's putting up some good numbers. I didn't expect that at all from him. Now I do like I like his tight end. I like Owen Daniels. I think he's had a good season so far. He's probably one of the top 5 tight ends. He's doing well. One thing I noticed though, his kicker's on a bye, so hopefully he's got the depth to take care of that. Overall, I think it's going to be a good matchup. What do you think?
I like the matchup. It's definitely one of those you get a nice 5-2 against 5-2. Pride is everything. You want to win. It looks like last time these two faced was back in week 2, where the Pill Pushers defeated Havok Hawks. So obviously the Hawks are going to try and get some revenge here. But looking at it on paper, you got Aaron Rodgers, Andrew Luck. That's pretty much even right there. You got Le'Veon Bell versus if they're starting, he's got the 2 running backs. Bell and Murray definitely match up pretty well. And I would basically put Ellington matching up well with Decker, in the flex position, I guess is what we'll call that, the running back and the extra wide receiver. But pretty evenly matched up. I mean, defense may play a big part in this. You got Janoris Jenkins with St. Louis. St. Louis's D hasn't been as spectacular as it once was looking like it was going to be. But I would say pretty evenly matched up here. But I have a feeling it's going to be talked about later on this evening, this game.
Well, personally, I think they are pretty similar as far as quarterback, running back. I like the wide receiver matchups better for pill pushers. If he can take care of his kicker, I think he's going to win. And like you said, we'll discuss it later with yours. So next up, we had Murphy's Law versus Shiva Blasters.
We have Murphy's Law versus the Shiva Blasters, and we do have statements from each of those teams. Let's get right into those here. The Shiva Blasters have said, and this is quote Shiva Blasters right here, they are admitting to themselves and admitting everybody here in the TFL world that they are a horrible team. They're in a build and rebuild mode. Aaron Rodgers is basically his team. He's living and breathing by him. Understanding the rules of our league has been an experience in itself. Shiva Blasters is a new owner into the league as well. So with every, coming in, you learn new things here. So you're constantly tinkering with your rosters and everything, but he has quoted and stated that Shiva Blasters will not go down without a fight, which that's basically all you have to do in this game.
Well, don't feel bad, Shiva, because as far as learning the rules, my very first season, I didn't realize you could start one running back and 3 wide receivers. I didn't figure that out until the end of the season. But I think I've figured it out and doing pretty good now. So it does. It takes some time. It's a different format. If you look at these guys' quarterbacks, I think this and the rest, it's somehow we got Rodgers and Breeze again.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I don't think we could have done that intentionally if we wanted. But Breeze playing at Green Bay. Rodgers versus Rodgers, I think just got the better matchup. Breeze, I mean, he's putting decent numbers, but Breeze has really struggled. That whole team's just it's disappointed. I do like Murphy's Law. He's got again DeMarco Murray, same running back we talked about a minute ago. His receiver cord Fitzgerald's been showing up a little bit. He didn't last week, but he did the week before. T.Y. Hilton. Now Demaryius Thomas just had a monster game. Anytime you got Peyton Manning throwing you the ball. Excuse me.
When you got Peyton Manning throwing you the ball, you're going to catch some touchdown passes. You're going to get some receptions. So, I mean, you can easily see points coming your way when you got Demaryius Thomas on your team.
Yeah. Greg Olsen, that's another tight end I like. I think he's had a pretty good season. Going down to Shiva, Aaron Rodgers. Now the running backs to me are a definite weak point. I'm not a huge fan of Ingram. Tate has had 2 good games this season. Other than that, his numbers have been, pretty much, moot. Roddy White has been putting up pretty good numbers. Kendall Wright, pretty decent. Jordan Cameron, as far as the tight end, I mean, we'll see what he does. I like the Shiva Blasters. Well, no, they both have pretty good wide receiver. But Murphy's Law, I think, has the edge with the running back. But then I get to the edge to quarterback to Shiva. So it's definitely going to be I think it'll be another. I think it'll be close. But I'd probably have to go with Murphy's Laws on this one.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a close matchup here. And then Murphy's Law, they did quote in their little statement here, and they're basically stating, "I've had more games of the week this year than Josh Gordon has had blunts." Quote. That's his statement. That's how confident he feels in this game. He's not even going to discuss his opponent. He's not going to discuss what they're going to do to the opponent. He's just basically saying that he's in so many games of the week. That's how good his team is. That's why he's going to, I guess, win. That's the way he's saying.
It's all about me, I guess.
It's a give me the ball type of league.
Yeah.
Or is it? I mean, if you look at it, when they last faced in week 2, Murphy's Law only beat the Shiva Blasters by 0.11 points. So, I mean, that's 1 tackle from a defensive player, one extra.
Who had home field?
I'd have to look back here real quick. Let's see if this thing gets me right to that answer. Let's see. You have. Murphy's Law, home field advantage got them that win.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder where these two teams would be right now if that didn't happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Shiver Blasters win it out this time because of home field? Do they get that extra hit right there? I mean, we just said how they're pretty close to evenly matched up. This could be that same scenario.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Shiva pull out the win.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the running back situation would be a concern. But, any given Sunday they can put up points. I mean, Ingram could all of a sudden realize who he is, and DeMarco Murray could all of a sudden realize who he is. So
he might get hurt. I mean, some of the Skins players, sometimes they play a little dirty. If he gets an injury, he's out. There you go.
Well, I don't think they're out there twisting anyone's ankles or anything when they're on top, in a dog pile. But
no, that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, but I see where you're going with that.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and go to our Week 8 locks. You didn't discuss something a minute ago. I'll let you hop in there and go for it now.
All right. Well, let's see. We're gonna get right into it, and I'm 12-0 in the picks. You don't just get there by being lucky. You get there because you're knowledgeable of what's going on, and maybe you take a favorite team. Is that wrong? No. Vegas wants you to do that as well. They don't want to really pay out to the big winner. So, Pill Pushers, Havok Hawks. I'm looking at your matchup, and I'm gonna favor here Pill Pushers and locking the Pill Pushers to go ahead and win. They're gonna clinch their division, and they're just gonna be sitting back and relaxing, waiting for the playoffs. You got Aaron Rodgers, who has been monstrous. Randall Cobb has realized that he actually is a part of the offense and is getting some massive points. Sure, he's got Eric Decker. Would I keep him in there? I don't know, but then again, someone's got to catch something for the Jets. So, wide receiver to wide receivers, I mean, Kelvin Benjamin definitely can get you the points. I'm a little, Sanu scares me a little. He's very hot and cold, so we're going locking Pill Pushers over the Havok Hawks.
Well, I mean, that whole offense got shut out last week, so, I mean...
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Who do you got for one of your locks?
Okay, well, last week I did 2 AFC teams, so I said I would try to make it up and go with 2 NFC this go-round.
Okay.
So, starting out, I have Old School versus the Terrible Towels.
Ooh, I like this matchup.
I do too. It's another good one. I mean, we got Luck versus Romo, Bale versus Charles, Des Bryant versus Randall Cobb.
It just goes on and on and on.
Julius Thomas versus Martellus Bennett. I mean, these two teams, lock, stock. I mean, they both have very talented players. Any of them could break out. Any of them could score, throw big points. But I got a gut feeling I'm going with Old School in this one.
Old School, very, very good choice. Admittingly, right now, I'm going to say I was almost going to take Old School for my other pick. I almost was going to.
Okay.
But I'm not. I'm not going to.
Yep. Vote of confidence.
Yep. What was your second lock?
Second lock. Okay, we've got Wildcats or Central Wildcats versus the Big South Bandits. Big South Bandits, we've got Peyton Manning versus Central's Cam Newton, assuming again if they start these. Central's got Giovanni Bernard, whereas we've got Brandon Oliver for Big South Bandits. Bandits, I like his wide receiver core. He's got Odell Beckham, Antonio Brown, Brandon Marshall, Owen Daniels for his tight end. Wildcats, Kelvin Benjamin, Brian Quick, who's looked pretty good, Steve Smith. So, I mean, both of them got some talent on their teams, but I'm going with Big South on this one.
Big South. That's a pretty good choice. I mean, I look at the teams. You got Peyton Manning. You got Cam Newton. Brandon Oliver's definitely done a good job. Antonio Brown is catching touchdown receptions and throwing touchdown receptions.
He's catching
Brandon Marshall.
Ebola.
Exactly. And sorry for anybody that was offended by that joke. And because people get offended by easy stuff. I'm just saying,
They'll get over it.
if there was a vaccine, you'd get it, but you wouldn't get a flu shot. Just saying. Yeah. Inside joke. My fault. Anyway, so with his wide receivers for Central Wildcats, you got Steve Smith, you got Brian Quick, both done an excellent job this year.
Mm-hmm.
Kelvin Benjamin, we've talked about him. Definitely one of those top rookie receivers. I'm not, it's not a lock, but if I were to pick this one, I'd actually go Central Wildcats on this one. To end that, I mean, they went on they started 3-0 and they've lost 4 straight, but I think Central Wildcats might be able to win this one. It's not my lock, but I would go Central on this one, I think.
I like Central's defense. Jason McCourty, he's had a real good go round. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it could go either way. I'm gonna go with I got the Bandits. We'll see what happens. So who's your other pick?
My other pick, I'm gonna go ahead and say that we are gonna get a little crazy. I'm gonna really test the ability that I have, and I'm gonna give everyone the upset special. It's one of those where you dial up your bookie, you place down this bet, you put 10 G's on this bad boy. That's how crazy this one is going to be. The odds are in your favor, in my opinion. We are going with the JC Beach Bums visiting the Maynardville Mudfish. JC Beach Bums 0-7. They're going to be against 3-4 Maynardville Mudfish, who were preseason favorites, might I add, but they're 3-4. Now, one would say it's not an upset when they're a 3-4 team, but when you haven't won a game yet, it's kind of an upset in my opinion. So let's look at these teams. You got Joe Flacco, definitely is able to put up some points. We've seen what he's done. Andre Johnson is starting to see himself again. Jacoby Jones. You look over at Mudfish. You got Lamar Miller is the running back. Right now he's got Kaepernick. He needs to get into a different quarterback, which I think he's got a pretty good backup for his roster, which one would be scared for. I'd have to relook it up, but I'm not worried about it. So once again, upset special. Let's test this streak. Let's test the ability that Rome's got here. Can I be 14-0? We're about to find out. JC Beach Bums getting their first victory of the season over the Maynardville Mudfish.
Do the Mudfish even have a whole team?
On paper, it doesn't look like it yet, but they have time. And
okay, I was just looking. Yeah, they do have a lot. They have a lot of buys this week. Looks like week 10 they're going to get hit pretty hard again too. So it'll be interesting to see. Well, do we have anything else going on in the league that we need to discuss?
Let's see. With the TFL, I don't believe so. I'm trying to think of anything going on from the Commish with the TFL. I can't recall anything either. Actually, no. But actually, now that you mentioned stadiums, let me bring that up. For people who have listened to the show, I tried to pick some theme music to go along with it, and not many people know about this, but as we're looking at the matchups, you can actually name where your stadium is if you're the home team. You can, even if you're the away team, but you can name your stadium. And if you do something pretty clever, I'll go ahead and try and get music to go along with it if we're going to discuss your team as well. So if you're one of the teams that when we tell you that you're going to be one of our featured teams, get a stadium on that bad boy, and we'll get something going to try and get yours to be mentioned a little bit more. We'll get some theme music in there. Not sure how many people have listened to the TCAA episodes, but it's going to be pretty interesting. If you haven't listened to it, listen to that, because like I said, if you can get your field name, we'll get you music going out to that. Or if you want a song to be played for your team, since we'll be talking about you, let us know. I can get it on here as well. But other than that,
actually, I've got some breaking news. I've got a visitor popping in here who has a few things to say. Mr. Goodell, are you with us?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well.
Mr. Commish, you're there.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rome, you need to put your pants on.
Yeah, where's your tie? Button that shirt up, Dan. No, I just wanted to give a real quick thanks to a couple of the teams that have kind of had a rough season, yet they're still quite active in they're managing their roster, setting their lineup stuff. Namely, is Sriracha Angry Chickens and the JC Beach Bums, who you mentioned was 0-7. And some of you don't know, but you knew that Sean at the draft. I announced that Sean had some pretty serious scare, and he is going through chemotherapy right now. But he's still texting me off and on throughout the week, just asking stuff, complaining about his roster. He made a trade that some people kind of thought were questionable, trading away Peyton Manning, but he was really just trying to fill out his team to kind of go forward, and he was looking at money and roster space and stuff like that. But I just want to thank those guys that, even though their season is kind of not going the way, they're still in it in the division. They still got a chance. I know. Well, I don't think Jared does. Actually, I don't think JC Beachbums does either. If he's 0-7, he's probably 0-4. I don't have it in front of me. So they're really fighting for nothing, but because they don't have a shot at wild card or anything. But they're still in it every week, and I do appreciate that. And also, just David, I heard you talking. I was listening, and I heard you talking about the stadiums, and I had spoken to a few of you, kind of thrown the idea out there of how a different way to get money for the leagues. For the teams in the league, because some teams they've traded away money, can't get it back. Other teams have they've traded and gotten money, so they're doing well. And I was trying to think of a way to kind of maybe balance that out. I've got a formula I'm going to throw at you. I don't want to get into it too much this week, but you mentioned stadiums, naming stadiums and stuff like that. I kind of went a little overboard with my idea, and a lot of people kind of panicked. So I wanted to use the approach I've used in TCAA and introducing everything slowly to kind of get people on board, which has worked in the TCAA instead of just throwing everything. So kind of want to perfect my idea and my formula, run some scenarios, and see if it works, and throw that guys at you in the off season. Just wanted to throw a little teaser in there for that. Okay. I'll go over more in detail in another show how this would work, and kind of have some scenarios of what would happen and how you would lose money and gain money. And if you like gambling, it's pretty much going to be what it is.
Gambling.
So risk versus reward, you're looking at, you could take a big chance, have a big reward, but if you wanted to play it safe, there's a way to kind of...
You're exactly right, sir.
Okay.
But other than that...
Go back to working on the polls, sorry.
Yeah, was that a question?
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I'll catch up with you at the TCAA show here in a few minutes.
All right. Dale out. Hey,
right, thanks
for stopping by. Yeah, I'm going to echo what he said. That's for bums to hang in there like that and have that, have a, it's hard to stay into something if you're not winning. I know how it is. My first season, I had a little better record than that, and I still struggled with it. So kudos to him. That got a lot of respect for that.
Really, when you think about it, he's 0-7, and he's about to go 1-7.
Yeah.
So. Because when I lock you, it's a victory. Let's not forget that. But when it comes to the draft for next year, I don't want really talk about playing right now for the draft picks and for your draft picks. But that number one pick that he has might be some interesting trade bait based off of who would be coming out in the draft, or he may want to keep it because there could be a good quarterback coming out. But just throwing that out there. I don't want to start any of that crazy talk right now, playing to lose or lose to win or however those sweepstakes things start. But other than that, name your stadium. Tell me if you want some intro music, because we'll get you involved.
David, I'm going to jump back in on what you just said regarding the play to lose thing. I just want to remind everybody.
Who gave him a key?
Want to remind everybody, we do have a rule in place. It's somewhere in the chart. I'll have to look it up. that you cannot bomb your team, and that within I think it's the last 4 weeks, if I remember correctly, um, your your position will be determined off, I think it's the average of what your best available lineup was. So it's, you can't just bomb your team and get the first pick. You need to stay competitive.
Well, that's that. Sorry for giving you guys that crazy idea. You better fight for your right for that first vote.
Gosh, you're such a shady character.
I'm shady.
Yeah.
Some would say I'm hot-headed, but I mean, I guess shady is a little bit better. But other than that, anything else we got for the show?
No, man, I think that's a wrap.
All right, well, TFLers, we will see how we do in these locks. Is this the week that Rome loses? We're about to find out. We will see you next time. Get us your stadium names, get us your songs. We'll see who we get going for week 9. Give you how everything went for week 8. Other than that, good night all.
Peace out.